So we went up the English, up into Scotland. And then when we're standing on the train platform waiting for our train to come in, we're looking out. About a mile or so, you see in the distance this here church steeple. So we're inquisitive, asked where that was, because we didn't know where we were. And they told that was Glasgow. In Europe, Germany recognized the Geneva Convention.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
This is news to me.
The Japanese did not recognize it. So in the European theater, there was no carrying the gun. Even some guys, I understand, on their own carried their own gun. But they were never issued. The Pacific, I don't know. Some tell me they didn't carry a gun. Some tell me they did. So I don't know.
That's interesting that the Nazis observed the Geneva Conventions.
Right.
It doesn't really, in my head, when I think of history, it doesn't really jive.
Right, yeah.
The people building gas chambers observed any kind of conventions. But
That was
crazy.
the reason they gave for us not receiving any guns.
Well, keep in mind, though, I mean, the Geneva Conventions were right after World War I, right? So it was before Hitler got into office or any of that stuff. I think Germany maybe was hoping to be a normal, civilized country.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
They had to rebuild. And, he built that Autobahn and all, which was the thing for Eisenhower when he came back to build the highways across the country.
Yeah.
So
we
learned a lot from the war, too.
We did. You're right. It's really amazing when you look at the how opportunistic Hitler was, because the Great Depression is what ended up giving him his opening, because it affected them over there. Like what we did bled over to them, and then he was like, "Oh, you're all poor now, so you got to listen to me," and then put in some economic things, and then said, "By the way, we're going to do 100 million other things here, including like getting rid of everyone who's not white." And people are like, "Oh," and then they went along with it.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it true, Jake? After the war, you couldn't find a Nazi, right? All the Germans you guys would encounter during occupation. A lot of the veterans who I meet, that's what they mention. They say the Germans who they would interact with, the first thing they would say is, "I'm not a Nazi."
Well,
but if you look at those pictures from Nuremberg, those early rallies, when things were going good for the Germans, a lot of them supported Hitler.
Well, everybody had us. You go out and you didn't support them, they'd shoot you or lock you up. So either you go out and you act like you're interested and you're a part of them, or you don't.
Yep.
That's just a thing today.
Yeah.
Our country's the same way right now. So.
Did you had said your dad didn't really talk about World War I because of his experience there.
It never got any details about it. The only thing he mentioned about France, when you went into France, all the along the corners and all, they had the latrines, like where they just go in and go to the bathroom.
On the corners?
On the corners, yeah. In
the trenches?
Huh?
In the trenches?
In their
No.
Their
The French people lived that way. In the towns. In the town. I'm sorry.
I missed the boat on that one.
When we went into Cherbourg, we turned around, we were up in a building, and right down in front was a latrine right in the middle of the wall. And they just had a cover around it, and men and women both go in and use the same one. And they thought nothing of it.
Convenient.
Right.
That's right.
That's what it was for, convenience.
But when you got your orders to go to basic training and you got drafted and you leave home, was there any type of conversation with your dad, not necessarily about his own experience, but about the weight of what you may be undertaking?
The only thing is, I was a friend of our family. From the veterans, VFW post. He turned around and he stopped by and he said to my father, "Did he ever talk to me about any of the thing?" And my father said, "No." So he turned around. He just got out of the Air Force. Had been in, and he became 38 years old. So he was discharged. And so he turned around and was talking to me about the women, and you have to watch all these women and all. When you go to towns, different towns and all.
So not with your dad though. So,
No.
So you just kind of left and went and did your thing.
I do.
Okay.
Do you remember the last time you saw your folks before you shipped overseas?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you that later.
Yeah. Oh, you tell us that later or now?
Well, we turned around after we left Shenango. They sent us from Shenango, which was 3 weeks. They gave us some new equipment and upgraded our equipment, what we had. And the next day, we were packed up and put on a train. From there, from the depot, from the Camp Chang, they put us on a train and shipped us down to Hoboken, New Jersey.
Where we are right now?
Where we are right now. We got off the I knocked
Yeah,
off.
you're good. You're good.
We got off the train and walked over and got on a ferry boat. And they turned around and took us on the ferry boat across to Manhattan to a pier. Now, when we got off and got on the pier, we're walking up the pier, there was a big ship on our left side and one on our right. The one on the left, they said, was the Queen Elizabeth. The one on the right was the Queen Mary. We went up the gangplank of the Queen Mary, so we sailed on March the 21st. I left about noontime of the 21st, and we shipped out for England, Europe.
Did you go, what base in England did you go to?
We turned around, we sailed out of New York Harbor, up along the coast towards Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
When we got near Iceland, they turned and went across the stretch there. And our first morning on the high seas, we were on a British ship. They served us oatmeal. And the next course was blood kidneys.
Oh, nice.
That was an English breakfast, which we didn't know. But nobody ate blood kidneys.
Yeah, it sounds
Americans.
terrible.
So we turned around and we lived on the oatmeal and coffee all week. But then we finally, when we got over, we went up and we got over near England. And I think the day before, we picked up a submarine reading. So they turned around, since the Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth and the bigger ships all traveled without convoy. Traveled without the convoy. We had to, and so the captain had to outrun them. They feel they could outrun the submarine. So they turned around and the captain made a big circle, and it took us a whole day. So we were one day late getting into our thing, but we came back and around into the English Channel and up the Irish Sea between Ireland and England. We sailed by Liverpool on up into Scotland, and we docked right off of Scotland, and it was Greenock, Scotland, where we got off the ship. They had to take us off on smaller boats and bring us into the rail station.
Did you, when you're saying submarine, you're referring to German U-boats?
German U-boats,
right?
That's right.
German U-boat. So the captain felt like he could outrun them.
So he was outrunning them. He lost them on that day. So we went up the English up into Scotland, and then when we're standing on the train platform waiting for our train to come in, we're looking out. About a mile or so, you see in the distance this here church steeple. So we're inquisitive, asked where that was, because we didn't know where we were. And they told that was Glasgow, Scotland, the church. So anyway, when the train came, we all got on the train. We boarded the train, and we went through the Scottish countryside the entire day. And when we got into Liverpool, England, as it was getting dusk. And it didn't get dark until after 11 o'clock at night.
Really?
We were on double British summertime, so our days used to, during the summer, I think, daylight lasted up to midnight.
Wow. By the way, Rishi, I see you over there. if the headphones are going out, don't worry about it. Just twist them like
Thanks.
that on the thing. But
While
you're
we're doing
good.
that. So Jake, just try to keep it in front of you.
Yeah, you're doing great.
I bumped
you're
it.
Doing,
I bumped it.
No, that was me. I'm moving it.
You're,
Oh,
do,
oh.
you're
I
doing
just
great.
want what you're
I
saying.
thought I bumped it.
What you're saying is so incredible. We just want to pick up every word.
Yeah, your voice is really good. I'm watching your levels the whole
Oh,
time.
is it?
Yeah,
Say it.
you're doing great.
But
so
anyway.
yeah, let's continue where you were.
But anyway,
you get on the
we
train.
landed in Greenock, Scotland. We got on our train,
Mm-hmm.
and we traveled through the Scottish countryside, which is now beginning of spring over there also. So it was the 28th of March when we landed. So they turned around, and we went on into England, and we got off the train in Liverpool, England, which is the northeastern part of England, Liverpool. And they turned around, and while we're waiting for our train now, it's getting dark and dusk setting in. And you look out over the town of Liverpool, and we see all these blown out buildings.
Yeah.
And just shells standing in front of you.
Yep.
And the oil was blown out. And I got such a funny feeling, like I was standing in the middle of a battlefield.
Yeah.
But that's the way it hit me. But anyway, when our buses came, they put us on and took us about an hour and a half towards the Manchester, England. And it was a camp there called Oulton Park, they called it. Well, that camp was an engineer camp, which they were supposed to only bring engineer, I guess, in. But for some reason, they took us in there. So for the first 2 weeks, the cadre of the camp was engineer, so we did engineering work. We were supposed to learn medical training, but we did engineer. And then the last week, they took us out in the field and devoted that to giving shots and how to wrap bandages and everything in the field.
And you still don't, at this point, have any idea where you're going to be going?
At this point, we had no idea. Then they start turning around and breaking us up and shipping us out to different locations. Now, I was sent down to, with a group, I knew none of them except from just being with them. And I sent down to southeast, it was about halfway between the English Channel and Bristol, the town of Bristol. Now, Bristol was a manufacturing town, and it was an important hub for the British. Well, anyway, they turned around, and we were halfway between. Now, on our one side, it seemed like there was a lot of airplane. It must have been an airfield because these cargo planes were coming in and out. And then later on, we find out that a lot of fellows were living in homes and all. They're not just in barracks. So anyway, the rest of the outfit, when it was broken up, went to different things. Now, one fellow I'm going to tell you about later, him and I was drafted together. We went all through basic training, all through the medical training, and shipped out together. And we were together and separated in northern England. And we turned around, and during the war, I'm going to come back to this. And then during the war, we'll turn around and we met each other.
Whoa.
So, but anyway.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here